Hey, I'm Scott. This is October 19th here on Sheepguarding Llama, and it's part two for the day because I did a little bit earlier. I'm actually, as I often do, recording this the next day because it's always late at night before I'm going to bed. And I grabbed a tripod this time for my phone so I can actually have this at like more of a logical angle because normally I have it sitting on my desk and facing up, and it's a little bit weird. So we'll see how this works. Anyway, so yesterday was mostly put this little thing going on, little bit of hair out of place. I haven't. I'm just about to head off to swim today, so that's when I'm recording this. Um, and yesterday went swimming. Grabbed some Burger King. Got an Impossible Whopper for myself. I figured out that if I do it without cheese, it's like $1 cheaper. And it's like 100 calories less. And actually, something about the Whopper, I actually prefer it without cheese. I think, or it's kind of a break even, which is odd. I always want a cheeseburger, not a hamburger. But in this one case, and for some reason, Burger King does without cheese as their default, and they don't even make like with cheese like a big deal. Maybe that's why. Maybe they know there's something about their flavor profile that just works without cheese. I don't know. It's not that their cheese is bad. It just, I don't know. So anyway, that makes it a little bit cheaper and a little bit healthier. So, hey, great. Did that. Stopped by Taco Bueno and grabbed food for later because I knew I was going to be hungry. Obviously, one Whopper without cheese is hardly a meal for the entire day. It's kind of a half day. So I picked up just some bean burritos to eat later and swung into Long John Silver's because Luciana had requested that. So I got the kids Long Johns. They like popcorn shrimp and clams, and Chana likes hush puppies. So I got those and came back to the house. It was almost 5 o'clock by the time I got back. Between a couple hours of swimming, well, over an hour of swimming, you got to get there, get back. It's at least 15 minutes away. Shower there, 3 stops on the way home, and 2 of them are over on Midway, so I kind of got to go around. It's not as close as it might seem. So by the time all was said and done, it was nearly 5 when I got home, and the girls felt like watching their own shows or playing Roblox or something. So they hung out for a couple hours, and we watched a little bit of Star Trek Voyager, I believe. But I'm not sure I actually got a chance to get that in. I did a bunch of work when I got home in the afternoon. It was a very busy afternoon, lots of good stuff. So that was a good productive day. And then come evening around 8 o'clock, I got the girls to rally, and we put on Nancy Drew Trail the Twister. That was good. We finished that up, which took a couple hours. It's a good story. It covers some neat stuff that's very different from other Nancy Drews. I think the girls really enjoyed it. It was, a different mood. A lot of the Nancy Drews are like dark and gloomy and sometimes scary, like Shadow by the Water's Edge. Like gets pretty. It's got some jump scares and some creepy stuff in there. Trail of the Twister, nothing like that, right? You're in Oklahoma, old farmhouse. Everything happens in daylight. You never see night at all. There's no darkness. It just never happens. The only dark is when the storm gets dark, and you've got tornadoes and stuff, which is not scary in the same way, right? Like your biggest threat in the game is hail, and so it doesn't give you that creepy vibe, and it's very different, right? It's not what you expect from the Nancy Drew franchise so much, but it's good. Like it was a good story, and it covered new stuff, and it was a change of pace. So it was all very good. We finished that up and had some more time and still wanted to play, so we put on Alibi and Ashes, which is number 28 in the Nancy Drew series. Also one that is a bit of a departure for Nancy. It starts off, and this is no secret, right? Opening scene is a big fire. And you get arrested for arson, and you have to spend the game in jail while your friends do all the work, which is a little bit like the Crystal Skull, but not it's even more so. So it's also a departure that they use the game engine a little bit differently. It feels a little bit updated, but only a little bit, and they shook it up a little bit, but it's also, at least as far as we've gotten, not creepy at all. You don't get any of that creepy vibe, which probably only about half of the Nancy Drew games actually do. They're just the ones that kind of get the attention, right? The Ghost of Thornton Hall or whatever. Those tend to be the ones that people think of when they're thinking Nancy Drew, probably because there are so many of them. But the numbers that actually aren't creepy at all, there's a lot out there as well. So you can go The Phantom of Venice, which we've been playing. Not creepy, just exploring Venice. So we did that until pretty late and had a really good time. And I'm hoping that tomorrow, or technically today as I'm recording this, we'll have a chance to keep playing Alibi and Ashes. I want to get that one finished. It doesn't have the most engaging storyline, so I'm only so into it. And I really want to figure out where the only reason we're not playing Phantom of Venice is having a technical glitch. So I'd like to get that figured out because we were enjoying that game. I'd like to be able to get through that and get on to some new ones. But we got to finish up. We've got a couple in play, and we don't want to have a whole bunch that are partially completed because then you can't remember what's going on and you just never get back to it. If you do one at a time and really focus, you're able to get through it. So, and my friend Melissa and her daughter started playing the first one in the series, Secrets Can Kill, and absolutely loved it. Liesel had recommended that they start at that one because Liesel really liked it, and it's a remake. So even though the game is short and has the older story, it's remade in 2010. So instead of being the 1998 engine and problems, it's pretty smooth, like a later game in the series. And for those who haven't researched, there's been a 3-year gap since the last Nancy Drew game has come out. The reason is Her Interactive, who makes the series, made the first 32 games on a proprietary game engine, which in 1998 was pretty decent, but by the early 2000s, it was already extremely dated and pretty crappy. By the mid-2000s, it was kind of a joke. Like, it's really bad. I mean, dated, right? And they didn't do anything to update it. So, like, it doesn't even support widescreen, as far as I know, even through the 2016 releases, which is a big deal because everyone plays on widescreen and will in the future, right? So it's a terrible situation where you're like, the resolutions are so ridiculously low, and there's just so many problems with the game engine and so many limitations, and definitely graphics are the biggest piece. If they could just update the graphics, make it fill the screen, go to high resolution, even if it was only 720p kind of resolution, right? That would be worlds better than it is. It's pretty rough as it is today, and I think they probably were lacking developers, as in they probably had none, and just had no way to update the engine and wrote it as long as they could. But by 2016, people were like, this just isn't working anymore. So they made the move to Unity, and they were hoping to get the next game out in 2016 on Unity, which is Midnight in Salem, and it's been 3 years. Since the intended release date. And currently they're listing late 2019 as when they hope to get out, but it is already late 2019. We're in Q4. So there's a really good chance they're not making it this year either. So they may have like a 4-year gap going into the next game. But they're moving to the Unity game engine, which is modern and well supported. So the hope is that they manage to get it polished and smooth and that it works really well. That should allow them to be on Mac and Linux because their old engine was Windows only. It should allow them to have beautiful graphics and do a lot more with the game. And hopefully they do. That's going to be a huge challenge. This is a big shift for them because pretty much they've had, I mean, I don't know they're under, but looking at their games, they have writer or writers, they have a couple of voice actors, they have a couple of artists, and then they have someone who's like putting together the gameplay, but there's no development. There's a ton of stuff that they haven't had to do in the past, and it's been very much like okay, we did this before, let's just do it again. Just write a new story, make new graphics, grab the same voice actors in many cases, record it, and it's very much a formula, and you could turn out 1 or 2 a year pretty easily with a really small team that doesn't have to be constantly trained on new stuff. Moving to Unity, that's all going to change. There's going to be a lot of the same people, of course, but their artist is going to have to work with different tools and work with a different style. Their voice actors are going to need more voice actors. They're going to just all kinds of things, right? They're going to have to change what they do, and that's going to be a pretty big challenge for them. So hopefully it works out well. I'm really looking forward to seeing what number 33 in the series will be like, and hopefully it'll be out pretty soon. Meanwhile, we've got a backlog. We've only made it through about 6 games in total, and we're pretty close to knocking out 2, so to kind of give it an average, we've completed about 7 out of 32 games, which means we are just below 1/4 of what's already out there. Now, one of them is not available in any reasonable way. Stay tuned for danger. Number 2, while they remade it a couple years ago, they didn't release it to Steam or even Big Fish, and everybody's asking for it. And so for some reason, 31 of the games are available on Steam and Big Fish, and 1 is not. You can get it directly from Her Interactive, but the rumor is it doesn't work. So people are hesitant to pay for it there, partially because it's more expensive there. It doesn't fit in the catalog with all the others. Like, I have all my games on Steam. I don't want to go buy 1 out of 32 somewhere else. That's ridiculous. And we know 33 is already on the Steam system and on Big Fish, right? They've already gotten the 33rd one, even though it's not released yet. So something weird is going on with number 2. Hopefully they can get that fixed and get re-released. yeah, so we've got plenty to play between now and when Midnight in Salem releases, but I have high hopes for it. I really want to see it, and hopefully that it plays smoothly. So anyway, that was our day. Lots of video gaming, hanging out with the kids, tons of work and some swimming. And tomorrow we have someone coming over to look at Paul's side by side, his ATV 4x4 that sits in the driveway, because it's got a engine problem or something that just needs a mechanic to take a look at it. So somebody's coming over in the morning, and I'll be swimming in the afternoon, as I do on Sundays. They're only open from 1 to 4, so I have a pretty small window, and I'll just be working and hopefully playing some more with the kids, but otherwise just home. And it's bright and sunny, but just cool enough that we have the windows open, even though it's pretty warm in the house and we're getting pretty sweaty. But it's so nice having fresh air that we've been doing that. So I'll catch everybody tomorrow. Enjoy your weekend.